Good morning. We're going to begin today's brief program featuring comments first from Mayor Jerry L. Demings, then a few words from District 2 Commissioner Christine Moore, and then Utilities Deputy Director Mark Canada. Our event will culminate with the completion of a 500-piece puzzle depicting the beautiful nearby Wekiwa Springs, and we'll all high-five on 5-5 to mark this 500th connection commemoration. We love a good theme. And I'd like to now introduce Mayor Jerry L. Demings.
Well, thank you all for being here today. This is a great day in Orange County. You know, as we will talk much about this particular project, we know that it took some time to get it done, and I think the overwhelming majority of people who live here in this community are excited about it. It may be one or two who aren't so excited, but in either case, progress has been made. I'm joined today by my colleague, the District Commissioner, Commissioner Christine Moore, who is going to come up, and I don't know that she's going to say a few words because she's got a lot to say. She has a lot of stories to talk about with this project. I apologize, I'm going to have to put on my sunglasses here. The sun just came out. But I'm pleased to welcome you to the Palms neighborhood, which is one phase of our large-scale septic to sewer project and home to the 500th connection. 500. Hence, we have a 500-piece puzzle that we'll talk about in just a few moments. Since the partnership between Orange County, the St. Johns River Water Management District, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and the residents, this project began in the summer of 2021. Crews have been working hard to install sewer connections to homes. We're here to celebrate the progress that has been made and look to the future as we ultimately began converting almost 2,000 homes in the area. With each connection, we directly enhance the nearby Wekiwa Springs and Wekiwa River. These beautiful Florida gems are some of our most precious ecosystems that will no longer be impacted by the excess phosphorus and nitrogen the septic systems produce. As many of you may know, the nutrients produced by septic systems cause algae, which impairs the water quality, kills fish, and damages the environment. I want to congratulate and thank the neighbors here in the Palms who, with the assistance of grant dollars, are sharing the cost through an MSBU or Municipal Service Benefit Unit designated for an essential service like this. I also want to recognize the Homeowners Association leaders and residents with us today. If you are a Homeowners Association leader, just kind of wave your hand, or resident. Okay, they're here in the front, they're in the back. Thank you all for coming out. I also want to recognize one of our special guests, Mike Irwin, who is here with his mom and has been designated an honorary member of the construction crew. Okay, so there he is, Mike Irwin, with you can't miss him with the orange hat. I would also be remiss if I did not thank our guests from the St. Johns River Water Management District, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and Commissioner Moore, who has championed this effort. It's really an understatement to say that Commissioner Moore has championed this effort, because she has really been the catalyst by working with the residents in this community to make this a reality. So please join me in giving Commissioner Moore a round of applause for the work that she has been doing. Also want to recognize our own utilities team represented today by Deputy Director Mark Canada. Mark also has been working very diligently on this project as well. Thank you, Mark, and the entire team from utilities. So our utilities team, staff, well, where are you all out here? You know, they're everywhere around here. Thank you so much. And so here we go. I'm going to ask my colleague, Commissioner Moore, to come up, and she's going to share with you really the intricate details of how we got to this point. Commissioner Moore.
Thank you. Good morning. As long as the sun stays behind the clouds, I could tell you every single story for the last 6 years. No, I won't do that. This has really been, it was really difficult, I'll have to tell you, in the beginning. We knew that the spring really needed to be protected. But for 10 years, we had been hearing about the legislation that would require us to do these kinds of things, but nobody wanted to do it, including myself, because I owned a house in the front of this neighborhood. And at first I thought that would be a problem, but actually it turned out to be a blessing, because those first few meetings, every other word I'd have to say, but I live here too. Whatever we decide, I'm going to do along with you. And so I suffered just like this neighbor here for 2 years, with my road torn up, my car dusty, days that my house was shaking. But we knew we had a purpose. We had a purpose to save the water and to save our spring. And there's nothing more beautiful about living in the Wekiwa Springs than Wekiwa Springs. And so those meetings, I remember thinking about, well, how are we going to do this? And I'm an old band teacher by trade, so a room of a lot of people doesn't particularly bother me. And when we started those meetings at Clay Springs Elementary, we literally had 400 and 500 people show up. In fact, there were so many that we exceeded capacity one time. We had to have the sheriff out front directing traffic, and we did it 4 times. And it was interesting because there weren't always the same people in the room, and so we were hitting most of them. And I think you would show up if you knew you were going to have to pay $6,000 or $7,500. You would show up too, and they were concerned. There was worries about trusting government, but ultimately, I think the argument was the state is going to require this. We want to save our spring. Do you want to work on this individually by yourself, get your own loan, manage your own on-site system, or do you want to work with your neighbors? Do you want to work with the county? And ultimately, when we had ballots, they passed. Almost all of them were in the 90% passage rate. Now, when we first started, we had a little tougher rule. It had to get 67% of every homeowner in the neighborhood. I got to tell you, there's nothing easy about that. And the one story, but they all had to help me. The comptroller's office had the balloting over Thanksgiving weekend. And we weren't making it. And it was my neighborhood. I mean, we were going to have to make it. So drawing on my campaign experience and willingness to stand on corners and do whatever it takes practically to get these things done, I had to call up David Arms and Utilities, and I said, Thanksgiving weekend, we're going to stand at all the exits, and we're going to collect those ballots. There was nothing fun about that, but, I mean, all the ones who came out, Utilities helped, some of the activists came, and by Monday morning, we had enough ballots. But thankfully, Utilities said they didn't really want to have to do this every neighborhood, and the county commission, my colleagues, decided that perhaps it should be 2/3, which is still a very high bar, of all the ballots returned, because what you run into in some of these areas is a lot of renters, and you just can't use a renter, but you can't get to the landlord. And so we got through all those meetings at Clay Springs, and that was the initial balloting, and we looked like we could proceed. Well, guess what the next step was? You had to get money from St. John's and FDEP. And there's nothing easy about that either, is there? They're smiling at me from St. John's. And so I remember being out on a pontoon boat with then Executive Director Dr. Ann Shortell. We were out there with the alligators in the sun, and we were trying to figure out how to get this done, how to get people behind us, how to get the money, how to do the funding process, to have support from Utilities and the rest of the board. And so that was one of my really good memories, being out on a pontoon boat, plotting strategy with Dr. Shortell. So we were successful first with St. John's and getting funding, and then we applied for the very first project, which was Sweetwater West, and we got turned down. And it was not a very happy day at all, because we had had all these meetings, the people were behind us, and we were told no. But when you get told no, you just have to, redouble your efforts and try again. And so Daniel's here. He came. Daniel Vonegas is not with me anymore, and Kathy Marsh, my aides. And I'll never forget sitting in my office, what do we do now? And so we decided we were going to have the biggest, best press conference in the morning of a BCC meeting. And we made signs that said, "Save Our Spring." And we got the neighborhood to come down on a Tuesday morning early, like 8:30, 8 o'clock, 7:30, with about 3 days' notice. But 30 or 40 of them showed up. And as it turned out, we got on the top of the fold of the Sentinel, and we got in a lot of the media. And it was several years later, I got to talk to FDP, and I said, "Did you see us? Did you see how hard we worked to get your attention? Did you realize that these people really want to do septic to sewer conversions?" And they kind of laughed. "Yes, we saw you, Commissioner." It was pretty funny, but I can still remember, where I was when I got the phone call. Kathy called me up. It was about 4 days after. And I was at the Orange County Library doing a tour of the North Branch Library so that we could see all the improvements that they had made. And she said, "FDP is calling, FDEP is calling." And so there I was sitting in the parking lot. I was so nervous. It was like before a wedding, or, because when you put this kind of time in and you're representing your neighbors, it means something. It means something to you. And they said, see, I'm going to tear up. "You're going to get the money." So, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared to be emotional, but it's really that true. Without anything you do in life, that means something, right? So we had to get the people behind us. And since that time, I would tell you, I haven't had to work so hard. And I have to give a shout out to Utilities and David Arms, because he does all the meetings now. He creates all the PowerPoints. They do all the press releases, and I just get to come to the celebration. So, David, thank you so much for all you've done. Now we have more work to do, and this is difficult. Thank you to all the PIOs who answer every single question. I'm going to talk about myself for a minute. They had to hear from me 4 times about my sprinkler system. But guess what? They come every time and they fix it. I got tired of the dust on the road. I said, "David, can't you put down one layer of asphalt?" They did. And every phase, starting from Sweetwater West to the Palms and on, they've learned things, because we want to be customer friendly to our neighbors. I always tell them this is not going to be pleasant. It is long and it is difficult. But when the PIOs do all the work to answer all those little questions, it has made this process doable and successful. And thank you for any of the PIOs here today. If you want to stand, you guys have done a wonderful job. All of you that are helping our neighbors. And your patience. But I'll tell you, I'm back to those early days. I'm glad that I went through it. I'm glad I personally went through it, because then we can share with others. And I tease them that I'm glad that I won't be the commissioner anymore when we get to your neighborhood. But still, they'll be here. The PIOs will be here. David Arms will be here. Utilities will be here to see this project through, because we probably have at least another 5 years to go. It's a very difficult, lengthy process. But I think we need to have another celebration at the springs when we start seeing the nutrients and the water quality improving. And I guess a final thank you to Mike with the Friends of Wekiwa for encouraging me. You want to stand up? They've always encouraged me with this process to keep going. And one other gentleman, Bob Sampson, he's not here today. His son just passed on Friday, and so he's not with us. But Bob was the citizen member who would stand up and explain it, because he's an engineer, and it was always helpful to have him there to say he had researched this, he had advocated against, actually, he was against the septic to sewer program because of the cost to homeowners. But once St. John's and FDP came along, he turned out to be the biggest advocate for the program. And so I really want to thank Bob Sampson for all the work standing next to me at all those meetings. And there's one other person I don't see here today, Andre Salcedo. Is he not here, is he? Andres, there was the three of us who took all the incomings at all of those meetings, and that was tough, and you had to be very patient. But today, David just hosted a meeting with the neighborhood which said, what about us? You've forgotten us. We want to do septic to sewer. So think about how this whole process has turned around in about 6 years. So there's so many people here who have done so much to make this possible. And the residents, I know some of you are here, you did it all because we're paying more. We have a sewer bill now, right? We have to pay our portion of the septic to sewer, but I would tell you most people have been very gracious and happy. And to all of you, to all my neighbors, to all the citizens of Wekiwa Springs, thank you so much for all you've done and sacrificed to make our water and our spring better. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore. On behalf of Orange County Utilities and our director, Ed Torres, who couldn't be here today, we are pleased to commemorate this major milestone. We also greatly appreciate Commissioner Moore and Mayor Deming's leadership on this county initiative. I want to give some special recognition and acknowledgement to David Arms. Thank you very much for your devoted program management of these projects. It's greatly appreciated, as well as our field services teams. We have them in the back and in the front here, and our utilities engineering, as well as many other county personnel that are here in the audience today that have been dedicated and committed to seeing these projects through. We appreciate all your efforts. And also I want to recognize some of our partners, the Water Management District, FDEP, as well as our contract partners, Prime, Quest, and Metro. Thank you all for your diligence on getting these projects completed. At this time, we'd like to thank you all for joining us to celebrate this major accomplishment.
Let me also just make one acknowledgement. Commissioner Uribe came in after we started here today, so another member of our board. We appreciate all of those votes. We were unanimous in the vote to support this effort. So thank you all.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers today. So at this time, they are going to complete the last 3 pieces of our 500-piece puzzle of the beautiful Wekiwa Springs, which is just up the road. Puzzle is complete. Everybody high five on this 5-5 day to commemorate 500. Awesome. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to get your commemorative glass, some water, and photo ops if you would like. Thank you so much for coming out.